Hey there, this is LaQuita with QuitaBugHandmaids.com. Thank you so much for joining me today for another Stampin' Up! Tutorial. So today I'm going to share a beautiful watercolor project with you featuring the Butterfly Brilliance bundle. So with this bundle, you get the Butterfly Brilliance stamp set and then the the Brilliant Wings dies. So this is one big image here, but you've got this large die that actually cuts out all of these butterflies, and then you've got a bunch of other different dies, and you can cut out some detailed butterflies, cut out the detailed image for these butterflies. So really great bundle. And then I'm going to use the You Are Amazing stamp set for my sentiment. So as I mentioned, we are going to be watercoloring, so I'm using my Fluid 100 watercolor paper. I am using the middle brush from my watercolor or my water painters. And then I am using the re-inkers for the new 2021-2023 in colors. So I've got Polished Pink, Fresh Freesia, Pale Papaya, Evening Evergreen, and Soft Succulent. And I have got a, what is this? An E-block. And my Stamparatus. So I'm going to start with my Fluid 100 watercolor paper. I'm just going to grab one of these sheets out of here. I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus. Grab my magnet off the back here. Okay, so I'm just going to take my watercolor paper, put it down. I'm just lining it up to the top of my Stamparatus, and I put my magnet. I'm going to bring in that big stamp, and I'm just going to lay it down on my watercolor paper. Bring back my plate and pick this image up. There we go. And now I'm going to ink this up. And I'm inking it up with Memento. I would prefer to use Stays-On for this, but I don't have any. I have the refill, but I had to get a new ink pad, so I just ordered it. So it's not here yet in time for this project, but that's okay. We're just gonna go with Memento, and then I'll try to dry it really well. Okay, so I've inked that up, and I'm gonna stamp this down a few times, which is the beauty of using the Stamparatus, is that you can stamp several times and get your image in the same spot each time. Perfect placement when you use this. This Fluid watercolor paper is really thick, so you have to, I don't know if it's that it's thick, it's like absorbent, I don't know how to describe it, but you have to stamp it a few times. So that's 2 times. You can see the detail starting to come through there. And I'm also trying to work quickly because Malachi's in here and he's being a trooper right now, but you know, his little attention span isn't very long for this, so I have to be quick for these tutorials. I know, I'm telling them about you. He's like, hey, who's talking about me? Okay, so this is number 4, and really they look good. I just need to get this one a little bit better. They all look pretty good. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's good. I'm just gonna try to get this piece one more time on that butterfly. All right, that's perfect. I'm gonna go with that. So I'm actually gonna take this out, remove my magnet, get this out of here. So you can see how nicely those butterflies are stamped on there. Looks really good. And then while I have my Memento ink out, I'm gonna go ahead and stamp my sentiment on this piece of white cardstock. This is Whisper White. Just gonna stamp this You Are Amazing. Perfect. All right, so I went ahead and hit this with my heat tool just to make sure that that ink was dry for the most part. So now I'm gonna bring in my E-block, And I am going to put a drop of each one of my re-inkers onto this block, and this is going to be my watercolor palette, is using this block. So I'm going to go lightest to darkest, sort of. So I'm going to put a drop, and really a drop is enough. That's pale papaya. Then I'll do fresh freesia. Now if you don't have the re-inkers, you can do this technique with the ink pads as well. You can just squish your ink pad together. This is the polished pink. Squish your ink pad together, get a little ink on the lid, and then you can use your watercolor brush in the lid, your water painter. Soft succulent, and then evening evergreen. Ooh, and I kind of got a drop of soft succulent up there, so I'm gonna put the evening evergreen at the top. Okay, that's that. And this is gonna be some very amateur watercoloring. This is not, what am I trying to say? No, I'm not a watercolor expert by any means. I am literally just going to spread the color on. Super simple. So you can see with our new water painters, you've got the barrel here. You just simply squeeze water into the barrel. Oh, you can see it kind of coming in there, and then a little drop forming. Squeeze water in. So squeeze the water and let it drop. Okay. And then you can pick up your color and start spreading. So you can also squeeze more water out as you apply the color if you want it to be a little bit less intense. And actually, I'm going to need a little bit more pale papaya. I might have to pause this video too because I see he's getting fussy. Hold on. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue. He is fed and down for a nap. So I finished the pale papaya, so now I am going to go in, there we go, to the fresh freesia. And I'm going to do this big large butterfly with the fresh freesia. So I'm literally just swiping down, and you can color the entire image, or you can do, you know, leave some white spots. It's totally up to you. And I'm going to go ahead and clean my brush on this little towel that I've got here, and I'm going to go on to the polished pink, and I'm going to do this one. Ooh, that is so pretty. And I'm just going to actually fade it from really bright to light. I love that. I think that looks great. I'm disappointed in my pale papaya, but that's okay. And I think it's actually working better right now because this is like completely dry. My memento is just completely dry, and I don't think it was ready yet. You can see it kind of smeared. So I think that's the problem with that one. Okay, and now my soft succulent. Okay. And then the evening evergreen. Now this is super dark. Oh my gosh, it's so dark. So I'm actually going to rub it off a little bit here on my paper. Look at how dark this color is. There we go. Okay. All right, so I have dried this with my heat tool, and you can see just how pretty that watercoloring looks on these butterflies. And I went over my pale papaya one more time just to give it a more vibrant color, since it didn't turn out so well the first go around, but I think this is so pretty. So now we're gonna do some die cutting. All right, I've got my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, plate 1, 2, a cutting plate, and I'm gonna put my beautiful butterflies down. And then I've got that big die to cut them out, putting another cutting plate on top, and I'm just being very careful. There we go, and then I'm gonna run this through. And now, look at that, we've got all these great individual butterflies. I love it, love it. And then for my sentiment, I've just got this little stitched, scalloped rectangle from the Stitch So Sweetly dies. I am going to center that around my sentiment and run that through as well. All right, and now we can start putting this card together. So for my card base, I've got some Whisper White thick cardstock. This is 11 inches by 4 1/4 inches, and I've scored it at 5 1/2 inches. And I do have all of these measurements over on today's coordinating blog post linked down below in the video description. Then I've got a piece of basic black cardstock. This is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and I am going to go ahead and adhere this onto the front of my card. And I'm actually just using Seal Plus adhesive. I chose that since these butterflies have been watercolored. Okay, so let's start laying our butterflies out where we want them. So I think I want that little guy there. Okay, I think that looks good, so I'm going to go ahead and start adding these on. Okay, so now that I've got those on, I am just going to flip my card over and cut off where they hang over the edge. And then I'm going to come in with dimensionals and add my sentiment on. Okay, you are amazing. And I'm going to put this right about there. I think that looks good. Okay, and that finishes up this card. I love it. I think it's so pretty. And I just love these new end colors. Such a pretty card, and it's a nice tent fold card, which is my absolute favorite. And of course, I had to create an envelope, so I just added some designer paper to the flap. And this designer paper, this is actually from the Pattern Party Designer Series paper that you can get as a host item. And then for the front, that little leftover butterfly that I die cut, I just glued it onto the front. And there you have it. I love this card, you guys. I hope that you have enjoyed today's tutorial. Don't forget you can find all of the measurements and supplies for today's card over on my coordinating blog post linked down below in the video description. And I do actually have all of the products listed down below with clickable links in the video description as well. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll be back again very soon with another tutorial. Bye now.